Hey everyone, welcome back to BDG Reviews, another episode of Sci-Fi Sunday. This may be being uploaded on Monday. Had a bit of problem with some corrupt files, so I'm having to re-record this, so yeah. So essentially, it's been a couple of weeks since I last did a Sci-Fi Sunday. I just haven't been feeling it. So, back now. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to keep this going. What I'm reviewing today, and this is the first of essentially a series for the next few weeks, or whatever. Reviewing Godzilla. Now, I'm gonna try to go through every Godzilla film. And some I already have reviews for, so those won't be listed, but ones that I haven't reviewed before are going up. So first up, Godzilla, by Ishiro Honda, 1954. I'm going to break this review into two parts. The first part I'm going to cover the original Japanese Gojira, and the second part's going to cover the King of the Monsters, the Raymond Burr version. Okay, so here we go. Gojira. Gojira is a perfect movie. It really is. It's a complete S-class film. I love every part of it. The acting is top-notch. The effects, when you think of when they were, are pretty top-notch. And it just oozes menace. There's a real feel to it. It's not like your what you would consider your typical, monster movie. This had something to say. Basic plot, like pretty much every Godzilla movie, let's be honest. Godzilla is awoken, comes to Japan, destroys Japan. Leaves, stuff happens. That's pretty much it. I mean, what makes this one different is it's well known now. The original Japanese version has a very strong anti-nuclear, I don't want to say anti-American because that's not really true, but a very war message. And it comes across really well, honestly. It's a solid movie. 100% S-class film. If you've been living under a rock for the past, 70 years or whatever, however long it's been, get your ass up and see Godzilla. It's a goddamn masterpiece. Now, moving on. In what year was it? 1956. This was released in the States. But it was released as Godzilla, King of the Monsters. A little bit of backstory. They liked what was there, but I guess they didn't really like the big anti-war message to a point, so they trimmed that back a bit. They added in a bunch of scenes with Raymond Burr, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie, they actually work, and they're integrated pretty well. It feels like he's an actual character in the story. It doesn't feel like he's just tacked on, honestly. So it's one of the better translations, if you will. That being said, it turns a very powerful, anti-atomic weapon movie and everything into essentially just your basic creature feature. And it's a disservice to the film, really. And it's an annoyance. It's a real annoyance. Because I mentioned Gojira as an S-class film. Godzilla, King of the Monsters is an 8 out of 10. So, it knocks it down. 10, 9, 8, 3 points, it knocks it down. Admitted, you get to see a bit more of Godzilla in King of the Monsters cut, but it's the same footage replayed again. When he first shows up, at this village, and he's over this mountain thing, the same shots repeated, I think, about 4 times in the King of the Monsters cut. It's done well. But, you know, the original version is just so much better. So, yeah. As for this release, and this is something I noticed, which is kind of weird, it's a Criterion release, so you know they've gone above and beyond to give you the best possible picture, and you get it. There's grain and everything, but from what I've heard from listening to the commentary, that's actually how it is in the actual film, the way it was filmed, that the grain and that damage is there. You know, it was there in 1954 when people in Japan were watching it in the cinemas. So that is what it is. But what I noticed is when you watch the King of the Monsters cut, you know, the American footage is pretty much, you know, pretty clear and clean, you know, and doesn't have the same damage, I guess you could say. You know, I've noticed it more in the Criterion version than I have in previous versions. You know, but just a interesting little nitpick. As for this Blu-ray itself, like I said, from Criterion, really solid. It's got high definition transfer, obviously, you know, audio commentary for both movies by historian David Callett. Now, that's actually quite interesting. He knows Godzilla shit back to front. So you get a really... I mean, he goes into stuff like about during the war and how like that was like reflected in what was being shown on the screen and everything. Really, really interesting commentaries. Really good. You got interviews with some of the actors and everything who are still alive, obviously. Interview with Godzilla score composer Akira Ifukube. I always mess up his name. I don't know why. You know, he's awesome, honestly. Featurette, talking about the effects and everything. Illustrated audio essay featuring some guy whose name I can't pronounce by any means. Trailer for Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, and like a booklet. Really solid release. This is above an S-class release. This is like a grail item, like a holy grail item. If you're a Godzilla fan, you need this in your collection. If you don't have it, you know, shame on you. You need to get it. It's magnificent. Yeah, and like I said, you get both cuts, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, as a movie, S-class for Gojira, 8 out of 10 for King of the Monsters. Good stuff. Yeah, I'll try to leave some trailers below. I'll also leave my merch shop and my Patreon down below if you feel like helping out the channel. Would be appreciated. If not, that's fine too. You know, I'm gonna try to get these out a bit more regularly. Yeah, I've been kind of slacking. That's my bad. But yeah, that's it for now. See you next time.